Welcome to another captivating episode of Filmatic. Today I'm excited to introduce a young maverick who's a visionary force in African cinema.
When I pitch for a commercial or even a film or a TV show, agencies go, yeah, we want to work with you because the idea you brought, we want to see this thing happen. We want to see you do that crazy thing you pitched to us.
Sereti Films is the team that drafted him, and he has been a star player ever since, like directing Second Unit for Queen Solo. His talent has also allowed him to flex for heavyweight brands like Johnny Walker, Samsung, Lay's, DSTV, Ford, just to name a few.
The more prepared you are, the harder it is to lose something that you liked, because everybody buys into it. The process becomes so much more collaborative, and I love bringing everybody in to be co-conspirators.
Tell us about your approach, even to music, because your music videos aren't just the guy performing.
When I do music videos, I think of the story, and I think of obviously the world of the music video and the design of it and stuff.
Lindo continues to explore new dimensions in film and continues to grow and become an inspiration as a groundbreaking filmmaker.
When we contentified artworks like films, we run the risk of them losing their value and it becoming a commodity and it becoming something less meaningful than what it actually is.
Now, please join me in welcoming a Jedi Master, leader of the new school, Lindo Langa.
What an intro. What an intro.
Jeez, hope you liked it.
You know, bro.
So yeah, let's get this party started.
I'm an African. I'm African. I'm an African. Everybody's an African. Feels good, right? Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. I'm from the continent of refugees and rebels, where minds are richer than all rubies and marbles. Life at its best, view it from all angles. No longer do we wear shackles, but life's bangles. AIDS increases, the poverty's in levels, where flowers blossom every day in hard grovel. Traditional acts just brings out the marvel in every African's heart filled with sorrow. Wait for tomorrow, but the road remains narrow. African minds sharp like bow and arrow. We're aiming for higher places, man, I tell you. Communication through rhythms until I see you.
Good day, and welcome to another captivating episode of Filmatic. Today I'm excited to introduce a young maverick who's a visionary force in African cinema. Blending creativity, innovation, and a deep-rooted passion for storytelling, he is bold, brave, and brilliant in his approach to telling stories. Graduating cum laude from AFTA Durban, he has wasted no time in making waves in the industry. Sereti Films is the team that drafted him, and he has been a star player ever since, like directing Second Unit for Queen Solo, Africa's first ever Netflix original series. His talent has also allowed him to flex for heavyweight brands like Johnny Walker, Samsung, Lay's, DSTV, Ford, just to name a few. Lindo has directed music videos for some of Africa's giants like Shoma Jozi, Anati, aka Ami Faku, and Black Coffee. With a relentless drive to elevate African cinema to a global prominence, Lindo continues to explore new dimensions in film and continues to grow and become an inspiration as a groundbreaking filmmaker. Now, please join me in welcoming a Jedi Master, calm and cool, leader of the new school, Lindo Langa.
What an intro. What an intro.
Hope you liked it.
Love it, bro.
It was especially for you, you know? So yeah, let's get this party started. Brother.
Bro.
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Easy. I'm busy thinking to the last time I saw you. It was at Diff. That's when I last saw you face to face. Yeah. And you were telling me about a horror film, I think, that you were about to shoot.
Yeah, I went to Diff to pitch it.
How's it going with that?
I held my second draft of my script about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We are in financing, finding the right people, raising money for movies really hard. And getting people to buy into a vision is really hard. But Diff was actually really successful in that sense because you meet so many like-minded people who believe in like finding they find you, and suddenly a lot of people are interested in your weird werewolf horror movie, and they want to buy into it. And so, yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey. I'm finding out a script that I'm happy shooting. So we're there, and now we're talking to financiers and like locking in money, and you just have to do it right.
Okay.
I didn't want to go to a streamer. I wanted it to be a cinema experience. So that's the push.
Okay.
Yeah.
What horror? First off, that was my first thing. A brother is doing horror. That was my. What genres are you drawn to?
I think all genre for me is a means to tell a story in a way that captivates an audience like nothing else can. I think as a country we're very used to rom-coms and aspirational stuff, because I think what's popular in a place tells you what that place has been through. And so South Africans flock to movies about love and a woman in their mid-30s, getting married, or finding men, or men in their mid-30s finding women, and stuff like that. It tells you that that's what our country's young people aspire for, right? They aspire for a family unit. They aspire to be seen by the opposite sex. They aspire to be rich. They aspire to have money. They aspire, and all these kinds of things. And I think it's popular because people look to that and wish for that. Because we come from a time where there was so much strife. Our parents and grandparents couldn't just be black diamonds. They couldn't be in their 30s and rich.
That's true.
And drive nice cars and date the girl. They had to take down a regime. So I found that horror is such a great way to, not just horror, but like all kinds of genre, but horror specifically, such a great way to tap into something deeper.
Yeah.
More so than what we want to be. I'd like to put a mirror into what we once were and what we could become. And I love the classic werewolf movies, the Hammerfell werewolf movies of like the 1930s and 40s. Those are like my favorites growing up and stuff. So I wanted to make something in that world, almost like a 1940s, 1950s German expressionist horror film in black and white about a werewolf, or a kid who goes on a journey to hunt a werewolf. And like all those movies speak to some sort of societal ill. So like The Wolfman or Frankenstein speaks to class critique, which is prevalent here, right?
Okay.
Because we have this, Frankenstein, for example, we have this really rich guy who lives on a castle somewhere, who plays God. And then the townspeople go, you can't do that. and then when he creates this thing, this monster, in the book, the monster Frankenstein has profound thoughts, it's very clever.
Yeah.
In the movies, it's a bit dumb. But the point is that it's a class critique. It's saying that the rich can't play God. And if you look at the time it was made, 1930s Germany, you had a man trying to play God. So it's like really interesting. So now I'm in a place where what's happening in the world? Well, we've got Zamazamas, we've got this huge class divide, we've got young people who are unemployed, we've got so many things happening. What happens when young men become the monster? And it's a story of grief, it's a story of like coming of age, because I feel like I'm still coming of age a little bit as a filmmaker as well. So it's about this boy going on this journey to find a werewolf whilst grieving his father's death. So it's like this putting a mirror to society in a sense. Because the werewolf attacks only people in his informal settlement, which means the poorer you are, the closer you are to the danger.
A lot of guys I know would be dying.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's class critique at the end of the day. The rich people get to be comfortable, and whereas the poor people don't. And that gap is widening every day. Most South Africans are one paycheck away from homelessness and poverty.
Yeah.
So we're not far. And so I love how genre can access that quite quickly, quite beautifully. And also it can be entertaining. And I have a really big love for those old films. And I just wanted to make something where it felt like the actors on my movie would leave that soundstage and have a cigarette with Gene Kelly. Like I wanted it to feel like it's from that era.
This is an old soul, Gene Kelly, bro. You know, what you say is so interesting. I've heard Steven Spielberg say that, like, if I'm your favorite filmmaker, go find out who inspired me.
Yeah.
And go study that guy, actually. So I feel like, is that your approach to studying cinema?
Yeah, I got really lucky. My gran got Parkinson's when I was like 10.
Okay.
So she couldn't leave her room. So we bonded by watching movies.
Oh.
already, like when I was super young, we watched movies together.
Okay.
But when she was like bedridden and she couldn't leave, we got DSTV, and the first thing she did was turn on TCM. So I was there with her watching. That was my cinema education. All these old movies, like with my grand, like, I watched, and at that time, TCM was doing like this Hitchcock thing, and I essentially watched his entire filmography at like 14, 15.
Serious?
I was so lucky. Rebecca, Psycho, The Birds, Vertigo, like all these movies I was just sitting with my grand watching. And obviously some of them are quite challenging to get into because of the length and also the pacing of them. But then as you return back to them, it's not the movie that changes, it's you. And as you've grown up, you've got more patience, and you go, oh, hectic, this is actually great. This is incredible. And then you go, and then I got a phone when I was like 16. And then I used Wikipedia to go, oh, I love this movie. Oh, Alfred Hitchcock, okay, this is who he worked with. This is the movie. And then you go into the different guy. Okay, Howard Hawks. Okay, this guy is dope. Oh, okay, Billy Wilder. Okay. And then like suddenly you've built a palette of like these films that are like 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. But it's like, they still hit today. Like, and those old films inspired me. And then suddenly you realize, okay, well, you look at the family tree, and I always think of every shot and everything I do has a family tree. And you go, well, here's Alfred Hitchcock, technically the best director to ever live. And then who did he inspire? Okay, he inspired Kubrick a little bit. Okay, cool. And then he inspired Fincher. And then you go into Fincher, and it's like, oh, holy shit, Fincher, 7. Yeah. And it's like 7, Panic Room, Fight Club, and it's like, oh, I can see in Fincher's style, I can see Hitchcock. And then you go into Spielberg, and it's like, wow, E.T., we had an E.T. DVD in the house. And you go, this guy's incredible. When you go, well, who's he? Oh, Howard Hawks. Okay, cool, that's that guy. I'm Sam Peckinpah. This is like really, really great old filmmakers. And then you listen to the interviews, and then you get internet, and then you listen to the interviews, and you watch these guys, and they're repositories of films. And then like you hear your favorite directors talk about like Brian De Palma. And then it's like, oh, okay, Scarface, and then you watch that, and then suddenly you've built this like network of knowledge. And how my brain works is when I watch a shot, I like to think what inspired it, or when I create a shot, I like to think, where did this come from, or how can I talk back to Scorsese? How can I? Because it's never going to be the same, and I steal. Like I take a lot.
Great artists do that.
I take a lot from my favorite films because I think when we're all kids as filmmakers, even if you're like 3 or 4 or 5, if you see an image that really strikes you, you try to draw it. Like when I watched 300 and that final shot of all the Spartans on the ground, I try to draw that, and you realize you can't. And it's like, well, maybe if I use a camera in my toys, and then so that's how we got here. So I love looking back. That's been my thing, like forever, because I think there's nothing we do that they didn't do already.
That's true.
And if it's good enough for Hitchcock, I'm gonna use it.
Those films though, like the lighting is so heavy, like they were still using like 30, 40Ks, you know what I'm saying? Whereas now we're on LED and whatnot. What is the difference that you're seeing between then and now in the style of filmmaking?
It's, what we've lost is that little bit of discipline that film gives you. Because obviously they're shooting on film, so it's not a digital process. There's nothing digital in that.
Every take counts.
Every take counts. Every second is actually money burning. And you think of Singing in the Rain, you think of Wizard of Oz. Every single frame has to be so specific, because if you mess this up, I can't do it again. I'm over budget already. And there's another movie coming into the soundstage tomorrow. So it's like we need it. So there was so much discipline there. And so when you look at like the craft of films in like the 30s, even before color became a thing. Even if you go back to Lumiere Brothers, even if you go to those first early like movies, the lighting's very flat and it's very simple. A lot of the time they just shot outside. They just put the stage up and then outside and they had lights on because it takes so much to expose the film, right? But the lighting was really flat, and then you get like D.W. Griffiths and those guys who made these movies where they wanted to play with shadow, and then the Germans got weird with it. And I think black and white taught us how to light, I guess, filmmakers. Because suddenly, because I've been doing so much research for my film, because I want to shoot it in black and white, you realize that what you lose with color, you gain in contrast, you gain texture. suddenly rain feels spiritual in black and white. Like rain on mud in color is like whatever. And then rain on mud in black and white is like, you can almost feel it, you can smell it.
If you can't get the shot on set, you can get it at Mad Show Library. We have the best in stock footage and archive. Just go to www.madshowlibrary.com. Dude, what you're saying seriously blows me away. Especially the part even about the rain. I just remember, I don't know what the name of the film is, shot by Conrad Hall, who did American Beauty. There's that classic shot that he's got, which is like inspired the rest of the DP world with the rain.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude.
It's a real thing, and obviously it's a black and white today is a tool to express yourself, but also to save money because you don't have to light as much. You can the shadow on black and white is a look that we chase. You can put a character next to a window and it can look like something, which is great. And I think what we lost from the old era to now is that discipline.
Yeah.
Because now I can just roll. But back then it's like you had to be so much more intentional. And even with actors, most actors today don't know the feeling of having it all on the line, like shooting on film.
Yeah.
So it's like I have 2 takes. And if you notice, like the old school actors, they do like 2 takes.
True.
And then it's like, I don't want to do it again. I gave it to you. So I give you one, and then I give you another one. You know, I give you one to mess up and one for bonus. But like, realistically, like I heard a story about Lawrence Fishburne that he only does 2 takes. And it's like, of course he does. He's Lawrence Fishburne.
He's from film.
Yeah, he's from that generation. Of course he does. And I think the younger who are still older actors do the same thing. Because if you allow us to go, we could go forever. And I think digital, that's the only drawback. But obviously the thing with digital is democratized filmmaking, so anyone can do it. But I think there's a clear difference between content and film. There has to be.
True.
Because you can't, that's my problem with Netflix and the streamers. It's like, you can't call Goodfellas content. You can't, because it's not.
It's like, yeah.
It's like, no one calls the Mona Lisa content. So don't call Goodfellas content. It's
I
art.
get you.
You know what I mean? So when we contentified artworks like films, we run the risk of them losing their value and it becoming a commodity and it becoming something less meaningful than what it actually is, which is like a cure for the human spirit. It's like it's a real thing. It's a real tangible spiritual thing, and if you don't treat it as such, it becomes empty. And that's what we found with the streamers. Like that work becomes empty and for clicks and likes and most trending and trending now. No one wants to make a movie to trend. You know, it's your soul in there.
Yeah.
It should be. Yeah.
Yes, bro. I've got so much already. like what you're saying about Lawrence Fishburne, he's got 2 takes because he knows he's going to give you the greatest takes ever. That's what you're going to get what you want. Do you not miss that grain in film, eh?
And it's in all my favorite films, it's there.
Yeah. And
even now, I mean, obviously we can't afford to shoot film because it's pound for pound, film is more expensive than gold.
Yeah.
And fair enough. But even I love what's happening now. To chase the grain, people realize, okay, well, we can go digital, we can do that, but why don't we print the movie on film? Instead of shooting it on, you shoot digitally and you print it on film.
Oh.
It's called DI. So it's a thing that people have been doing for like 5 years now.
Okay.
So like Dune, there's 2 episodes of Atlanta that did it. So you can shoot digitally, and then what you do is you pass it through a film printer, and it prints your movie that you've shot and edited on film, and then you grade in film.
You're giving me hope.
So it's coming back, even though DI is expensive still, because it's the technician plus the machines plus everything. But at the end of the day, you have a real grain on your movie, and then you just rescan it in.
I see.
So like Dune has that beautiful grain, and it's most prevalent in the first Dune where you see Zendaya for the second time, and there's that flare.
Yeah.
And that flare has grain in it. It's real grain, and I love that people are chasing it in the most cost-effective way. So I don't have to shoot on film anymore. But what I lose is like, obviously there's that tension of like, ish, what if I'm overexposed or underexposed? What if that tension's gone.
Yeah.
But what I still have is grain. I still have the artifacts. I still have the picture feels so much more alive on film, and it's a movie then. Like it's not like people on a hard drive, you are that thing will outlive you.
Yeah.
Unlike, it's so there is hope. There is hope, and I'd love to do DI one day. It's so expensive. It's so inaccessible, and it's so hard. And there's like 3 or 4 companies in the world that do it. But it happens, and that's enough for me.
What's your process when you're creating a story now? Like from the start right down to the finish, the world, the characters. For me, I've noticed, like with Spike Lee, I think he focuses a lot on the characters. What's your process?
Character's big for me.
Yeah.
Because I always start when I pitch to like a friend or my producer Leanne or anyone, I go, so there's this guy. Like it's always like this guy or this girl. So it's always character first, because I also realize like I return back to character. When I watch a movie, I'm returning back to visit the characters.
True.
And it always starts with character, like how interesting would it be if, and then it's like, yeah, this guy does this, and then that's really inspiring. But I'm very much a creature of archetype. I love like a character who fits in like a mold of other characters. So it's like the main character. So my film's called Nomvelo and the Wolf.
Okay.
And my main character is a kid who's scared of everything.
Okay.
And he decides to go to hunt this werewolf.
That's how he's gonna overcome.
That's how he overcomes it, right? And it's like, this kid is scared of everything, and he can't do anything without his dad. Now that his dad's gone, he has to, So it's like, who is this kid? And for the first time ever coming up with something, I didn't have like a character to look at. I didn't have anyone to say, well, it's like that guy. Because and then you realize, wait, no, he's just me. That's just me. That's me at 12.
Okay.
It's like I was scared of everything. I was a precocious kid who stayed indoors, who didn't do anything, and then and then suddenly I wish I'd had an adventure like this. And then that's how you. So even sometimes character can just be yourself, because I don't know how to make up new people.
Yeah.
I can only speak to people who I've seen before or I know exist. And it helps a lot, because it's like, what's the archetype? Like, okay, so the archetype is the monster hunter, but he's scared of everything. Or the archetype is the hard-boiled detective, but she's a teenage girl. So it's like, I love that contrast. And I love weird team-ups and weird people coming together. And even in writers' rooms, like, I will probably offer up the character who doesn't belong in that story, because I think it's so fun and it's so interesting to see people who don't belong in the world be active in it. So character always comes from real people, but then it's about what happens to them. And then I often, and maybe this is a bit shameful, but I often see the trailer in my head first. When I make a story or I pitch a movie, I see the trailer first.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, well, in this scene, the wolf jumps over the car, and then in this scene, the kids are hiding in the closet, and and then it's okay, and then I see it, and then it's got this song over the trailer, and then I see the trailer, okay, now I can make a movie from that.
Okay.
Because I've sold it to myself first.
Nice.
And then you go, okay, well, then what happens? Okay, so the inciting incident, and then I'm a classic like hero's journey, inciting incident, that kind of thing. But that is like almost instinctual now. So it's like, inciting incident, well, obviously his dad dies, so he's an orphan. Okay, cool, his brother comes to town. Okay, people start dying. Okay, and then this happened, and this happened. And it's like, why am I seeing it in black and white? Okay, but what's outside the windows? Oh, it looks like Tim Burton, like the sets outside are drawn, and like there's the shacks are like these jagged things. Okay, cool, how do I achieve that? Okay, it doesn't matter, I'll find money and I'll pay a guy to do that. And that's also something I realized, like, when I see something and I go, shit, how am I gonna achieve that? And I go, wait, no, there's people who get paid to do that. That's why I'm like, why am I worrying about how am I gonna achieve the matte painting outside? I can pay a guy and he will do that.
Yeah.
And then, but the black and white needs to look great. Oh, but I pay a guy. There's DPs in the world who shoot only black and white. So like, we can find a guy. There's art directors who specialize in black and white art direction. So it's like, we've got this, there are people who exist, and you never are too far from the thing. I emailed earlier this year, I shot a job in Cape Town, and there's a technician in Panavision in Cape Town who fixes lens. He actually doesn't, he works from there, but he doesn't work at the Panavision.
Tink.
Yeah, he
Tink.
That German guy.
Yeah,
I
think that's him.
It's an old German guy, and he's got like gray hair, and
I might be wrong, but I think it's him.
And he was fixing my DP's lens.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about my film, and he was like, oh man, if you're interested in like really weird old lenses, you should talk to this guy in Germany. This is my homie in Germany. Just email him. And you email this guy and he's like, oh yeah, no, I got these Bausch and Lomb that the guys at the Lighthouse used, if you're interested in these things.
Wow.
These lenses specialize in black and white because the coating is purple. And so it just gives you a different thing. And he's like, I can give you a special coating if your cast is like black or dark skin. I can hit you with a special coating that makes it look interesting if you want to try.
I didn't even know it gets that deep.
It gets that deep. So it's like, you can just email these guys and it's like, wow, okay, cool. And it's like, yeah, I have a store. My dad had a store. My dad made camera lenses. His dad made glasses. And like, that's how I fix lenses from all over the world and I fly them in and I fix them and I tune them for people and I send them out. And it's like, just email me. And it's like, there's a guy for everything. And that's become part of my process. It's like, if I don't know how to do something, I just talk to a guy.
It's about who, not how.
Exactly. It's because at the end of the day, I don't need to know how the building is going to explode. I just need to tell the right people. My job isn't to know. My job is to just tell the people that I want the building to explode and I want it to look like the explosion in Tenet.
I get you.
And then they go, okay, cool, we'll do it. And that's been the biggest lesson over the past year that I've learned, is to let go and say, let the technicians do what they need to do, because they're artists in their own right, and to hire the right people. And the process really comes down to finding the thing. And I love treating film like a magic trick. So you find the impossible thing and you do that. And there's joy in the impossible. And there's like, oh man, like, okay, well, I love this scene where the kids are scared and they drop the lamp falls, and then you see the guy transform in the shadow into the werewolf. It's like, oh yeah, that's super cool. And it's like, there's joy in stuff like that. And there's joy in long takes, and there's joy in like classical filmmaking. And like, I made the hard rule, for instance, for my film, to say no Steadicam, nothing that we could use today.
Okay.
So I'm only going to use
tripods
and cranes and dollies.
Okay.
Because that locks me into a style. It locks me into how you would shoot this movie. So I don't have Steadicam, which is something that I'm very comfortable with. I don't have Scorpio, Libra heads, all those big controls.
Yes.
I don't want it. I want to shoot it in the way that we would have shot it 60, 70 years ago. Because then I'm stuck in a style and I'm locked in. And I think what tends to happen is when films are devoid of style, it's like, it's devoid of like spice. It's like, it's just salted chicken. But suddenly your audience will see the shot and go, this can only be that film. Yeah. And now I'm forced to like be interesting, you know? And it's like, yeah, would have been easier with the Steadicam, but suddenly you've done the shot with a crane on a dolly and it's longer, and now I have this access. I have so many, and if I could shoot on film, I would, if I could. And I'd love to do a DI, but it just depends. I mean, you have to put the money on the screen first before anything. But yeah, the process for me is just, it's filled with finding impossible things to do. Same with commercials. Like, I always think, what's my impossible shot? Like, am I pushing through the ground? Is the set opening up? Like, and obviously, budget depends. It depends on budget, but oftentimes I find that when I pitch, when I pitch for a commercial or even a film or a TV show, I often pitch above the budget that I'm given. I've never come in on budget. I may be the least profitable director in commercials. I've never come in on budget. I'm always blowing budgets. I'm always coming over. But somehow agencies go, yeah, we want to work with you because the idea you brought. So we'll find the money.
Yes.
We'll find, because we want to see this thing happen. We want to see you do that crazy thing you pitched to us. And the fear is you come up with these ideas and I usually walk around my house with a pencil in my hand and just think about like how I'd see this movie, and I'd move it around. And then people like the idea and they go, we'll find the money. And then you win the job and you go, I don't know how I'm going to do that. And then it goes back to the who, right?
Yes.
And it's like, okay, just talk to this guy and then he'll tell you. And then, and then that's the process for me. So it's become a lot more collaborative over the years.
Yeah.
It used to be me alone, shot listing for Queen Sono when it was on that second unit.
Yeah.
And then you realize, okay, well then you bring your DP in, and then you get an art director, and then they become conspirators. And now it's gotten to a point where I shoot the commercial or the movie or the thing before.
Yeah.
So I storyboard everything.
Okay.
And and then everything is storyboarded. So every single shot is considered.
Cool.
And what I like to do with storyboards is offer different options. Like, so shot 13A, shot 13B.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
like I offer different option.
Nice.
And because I'm partial to longer shots, I tend to imagine something in a longer shot and then break it up into coverage in between. And then, so I've got these like storyboards, and then what I like to do is cut the storyboard into the piece.
Okay.
And so I cut the storyboard as if I'm editing it, and I get a sense of the pace. And then once you've got that, I shoot it with my phone. And then so I shoot it 3 times.
Okay.
Or 4 times by the end of it, because I
Yeah.
shot it in my head, shot it on storyboard, shot it on the phone, and then I shoot it for real. And then when you shoot it for real, it all falls apart. And it's like, well, that's not going to work. Why doesn't that work? And you get to edit, it falls apart again.
Yes.
And then you just rest on this powerful editor who's like, don't worry, I got you. And he stitches it together. And then, and then every process, the more prepared you are, the harder it is to lose something that you liked, because everybody buys into it. And I often get shook by how much people around me buy into, no, but you said it has to be this way, so we're gonna do it like that. I was like, dude, chill. I just want to go home now. Like, but that's how it is, and the process has become so much more collaborative. And I love bringing everybody in to be co-conspirators. And I think we forget about art departments sometimes. And I love bringing those guys in, and they're powerful, powerful, powerful co-collaborators. And my dream is to prep movies like in a hotel room or conference room or somewhere with my DP, art department, and a storyboard artist, an editor. We all sit in a room and we talk through every individual scene and shot in my movie over 2-3 days. And that's how you prep a movie for me.
That is so true. I remember a friend of mine saying to me, if you notice great directors, they might not keep the same DP, but they'll keep the same art director. And I was like, I never actually noticed. And I went to go watch Scorsese. I think it was on Gangs of New York. And Gangs of New York, and I can't remember what else. But I was like, no, he's using the same art director, actually.
They stick.
Spike as well. I forget the lady's name. Because like with films like Malcolm X. Because, man, the art direction in Malcolm
incredible.
X, it's to the T.
Yeah. It's period, right? So it's like you have to be so specific.
No, man, I feel you. I saw a music video when I was just checking your stuff. I saw even with music videos, you approach them as story. When I look at AKA's music video, I'm forgetting the name of the song.
Finessing.
Yes. And then I look at Amin Faku. The AKA video, I was like, he is like British director. Lock, Stock, and
Snatch. Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
So I was like, he's got a nice Guy Ritchie feel here. And then Imali, I'm like, oh, he's gone John Singleton, Spike Lee on us here. You know what I'm saying? Tell us about your approach, even to music, because your music videos aren't just the guy performing. You know.
Yeah, and it's to my detriment sometimes, because sometimes you just need like a performance shot, but it's like instead of a car chase. But what was really great about music videos is I come from a semi-musical background, so I always edit to rhythm, and I cut to rhythm. Even on set, even if I don't have the music, I will have my actors rehearse to a metronome, so that there's a sense of rhythm, because I think that's also something that we lose sometimes. So it's words, but then suddenly it's like, and then so if you want them to argue, you put them in 2 separate tempos, and then suddenly, and then it's like, then now there's a clash, and that trick works every time for me.
Wow.
And it's like, why does no one else do this? Why does no one else, like, and if you put jazz in one actor's ear, and then you put like house in the other, and then you have them have a conversation, you see how different tempos they move and how they clash is so much clearer.
Yeah.
And I love that. So when I do music videos, I think of the story, and I think of obviously the world of the music video, and the design of it and stuff. But what's really nice is Kiernan was Kiernan. Like he just wanted to be in a car. That's all he said. He just, I want to be in Fast and Furious.
At Metro, we believe that storytellers change the world, and we would like to give you the right tools to accomplish this mission. For all your gear rental needs, go to www.metro.co.za or send us an email at rentals@metro.co.za. So again, with Kieran, I like how you did that. And so with Imali, what was your approach there?
It was actually informed by a lot of the limitations that we had. We had a time limitation on everybody. But also I wanted creatively, obviously, to tell the story of like, it touched on poverty, it touched on growing up poor and realizing that obviously real wealth is internal and those that's something that Ami and her team were very mindful of and clear on. And so I wanted to tell that story in this like liminal world where time didn't exist, where she is, like there's no time. And those performance shots were very like loose and you know, and quite wrapped in warmth as if it's nostalgic, and then you go outside and you see the world for real. And it's like today, and it's like fast paced and a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
And so that was purely artistic. Like that was like something where myself and the team just decided that, well, how do we tell the story in the most interesting way possible, but also represent how time like moves differently when you are at home and comfortable, but then you're outside, like things just seem so much more like oppressive. And there was this idea of like architecture in the music video that like I shot a lot of buildings.
I noticed.
Traveling from like Soweto, Diepsloot, Alex, and then you end up in Sandton. So it's like how these like structures are so oppressive. And the editor's idea. I just shot that just so that I had this idea about like architecture, but I just didn't know how to. And the editor actually was like, well, there's this part where she talks about Agnaimali, blah, blah, blah. So how about I take you from a church in Alex to a corporate building in Sandton, these two things that we worship, and side by side. And I was like, that's so clever. And I wish I'd come up with it, but I just didn't. I just knew I had the interest in the architecture and the role it plays in like hanging over us, but like I didn't know how to put it together. And and that was really beautiful. That was, again, purely collaborative. The right people around you saying, try this, do this, you know? And it was really an exercise in figuring out how to tell the story. And that was like very early in my career. So I again, it's like I'm still early in my career, but like the limitations dictate a lot at that level. So it's like, I have this house only for today. I have Ami only for today. Black Diamond's giving me an hour. So how do and even down to the dress, like we dress them like they were working class, like, and just to break down this like facade and this gloss of music videos. I'm not a big fan of cosmetic filmmaking. I think it's empty, and I think it has its place, but for something like that, you have to be true to what the artist is trying to say. Because a hit song isn't made by a music video. A hit song is a hit song. Like, so whatever I do, the song will be a hit.
True.
So how do I add something to that? How do I say something new there?
I noticed you take the artist away from bling. And because they're not bling at all, especially even the Amufaku video, even that shot at Alex, man, that shot touches me because especially if you look at that place from a top view, it actually looks like a coffin, that place. And it gives you that feeling as if you're it's very, bro. So I was blown away by that. Now, let's even jump into some of your commercials. How did you transition actually into commercials?
So when I joined Sariti, that's their bread and butter. Sariti Films, when I joined, they were still pitching Gomorrah. So there was no telenovela yet. They had done one TV show, so commercials keeps the company alive. And my mentor, Tabang, he's primarily commercials. Well, he was primarily, for sure. Like he was primarily commercials, but now he's fully transitioned into features.
Mr. Blockbuster.
Box Office King.
Box Office King.
And the thing with T is that he, obviously the first 15 years of his career was only commercials.
Yeah.
So there's those relationships. So when I started there, I started off like writing the pitches. And I guess for all the things we say about film school, one thing AFTRA taught me is how to pitch.
Yeah, that's true.
We get really good at pitching.
That's true.
Because you do it so often.
Yeah.
So all these things of all that afterdish of relevance and all that all that stuff comes into play when you're pitching. Because it shows that you have an understanding of the brand. Brands don't hire you to make their commercials because you're experienced or because you're good. They hire you because you have an understanding of what they're trying to say. Because of your unique world experience.
Okay.
And so what I realized was when I was writing T's pitches and like we were putting these things together as a team, is like, that's how you win. You win through understanding. All the technical stuff you can know and all that stuff, but really you have to have an understanding of who they're talking to. And then I started doing smaller jobs that the company would get, music videos and that kind of stuff. And then I started shooting my own stuff on the side. And then you sit in enough pitches with T and the team that they notice you, and then, and then they go, okay. And then I did a couple of jobs with him. Yeah. And then they notice you and they go, actually, we've got like this young R1 million thing that we're shooting. Pull up, come pitch for it. Yeah. And then, because this was my first commercials for Johnny Walker, my first ever commercial, I threw everything at it, right? Okay. And I was like, yo, man, this is how and I was really obsessed with Spike Jonze at the time. So I wanted to make something that paid homage to her. And that softness of her, and it's got this beautiful light. And the key to the thing was that because Johnny Walker's moving away from this like old white men in fancy leather couches to more youthful, like young people. And and back in the day, there used to be a big deal about how they poured the Johnny Walker. And now they wanted the incidental pour. Like they wanted it to feel like friends can have it in like a highball glass with lemon. And it was so much more casual. Nice. And it was younger. Yeah. Specifically. And so my appeal was that we've moved away from that old world, but there's still like hope and beauty in it. And how it should feel is the sun shines on all these different characters. It's the same sun on all these different characters in these freeing moments with their friends. And it just so happens that Johnny Walker's there. It's not, Johnny Walker's not the reason they're there. It just so happens that this thing is there. And then you realize, like my favorite film, like her, like there's that rooftop scene at the end, and I reference that, and like the dust particles landing, and I wanted to feel nostalgic, right? And I wanted to feel like you're remembering it, and you remember, oh yeah, so-and-so had a Johnny Walker in their hands. And that's the feeling I wanted to invoke. And then you go into that, and it's like, how do you remember something? You don't remember the exact details. You don't remember the exact full scene. You remember details. Yes. You remember the feeling of sand on your back. You remember the water, the beach water running over you. You remember how it feels when a tree whizzes past you on your bicycle. The feeling of your friends going up the staircase. And like, I wanted to capture those feelings and how the sun plays the role in that. And in the commercial, we were very mindful of where the sun is in every shot, because it feels like in one of the first scenes, it's a wedding, and that's like a morning scene, and the sun is like directly in line with our characters coming up, and it's like that beautiful white like flare, right? And then in the afternoon, it's a little higher, and it's a bra, and then at the end of the scene when the friends are on the rooftop, the sun is set. So you get the sense of a full journey without actually having ever been there. And it's like, I wanted to capture the feelings, like moments, and then you do that, and then you realize, well, at the end, the audience has been on this journey. Now they need to exhale. And the final shot in the commercial is a guy on a bicycle just going. And it's a longer shot. It's like 8 seconds. Nice. It's the longest shot in the whole piece. I average about 2 to 3 seconds a shot on that thing. And then the longest shot is just this moment of this guy letting go. And what was really beautiful is like the loop is like, I love her. And in that movie, they make an AI of Alan Watts, the writer. And the copy of the commercial was an Alan Watts lecture. So like it all speaks to, and that's when they go, there we go. Okay, you understand what we're, because the thing is talking about freedom, it's talking about the pursuit of life, and just so happens that this thing is there. It's not the elixir, it's just there for it. And some powerful brands can do that. Yeah. They don't need to be in the forefront. True. powerful brands can just do that. Samsung can do that. They don't have to say, this is a Samsung commercial. You just see the guy holding the phone and it's like, oh, okay. And it's even cool you don't even have to be specific with the phone you're selling.
Yeah.
You can just smash to black and say Samsung at the end. Yeah. And suddenly there's a weight.
I hear you.
And yeah, it's a real thing. And we got lucky. I got really
That's
lucky.
incredible. It seems like you've even gone international. Like when I spoke to you for this interview, you're like, in fact, I tried to speak to you just after 6 and you couldn't because you had an edit. And I was like, why does this guy have an edit at night?
Yeah.
And then you later told me you've got clients in different countries.
Yeah.
Break that down to me.
So I'm currently in post-production of commercial / music video / thing.
Okay.
And
which you can't talk about.
Which I can't. I wish I could because it's really cool.
What can you tell me?
Man, I don't even. It's for a really big brand, arguably the biggest brand in the world, and it's a music video for arguably the biggest artist out of Africa ever.
Burna Boy.
No, I wish same country, but but it was a real dream come true.
Yeah.
And the thing with this brand is obviously they have offices. The head office is in Atlanta. That's final approval. And then you have my direct client who I was working with is in Saudi Arabia. And then her direct client is in France. And then my VFX team is in Argentina.
Okay.
And then we shot in Nigeria. Production team is in Nigeria.
Okay.
I'm South African, obviously. So I flew up with the DP. But that is how we were working throughout this process. So it's like 9 a.m. for me is 8 a.m. for someone else.
Yes.
Is 6 p.m. for someone else. So, and then it's like, so you find times to come together, right? And working, and then obviously the artist who's the lead in the commercial, she's in the States. Okay. So it's like now I'm on her time as well. And it's like, it's like when we talk, I lose 2 hours between messages or between calls because it's like, she's got things, she was on tour just now. So it's like, there's a lot going on.
Wow.
And I think I don't think I'm at a level yet where I can say, like, I don't think I'm like at the top level. I don't think I'm where I want to be yet. Yeah. But I can say that with this specific job, what I learned was the problems don't change. Yeah. This is like a dream budget for me. I've never had this much money to do anything. And the problems are the same. I'm still waiting for the light to work. I'm still waiting for the artist to arrive. I'm still waiting. In the same way, you wait 2 hours for Keenan, you wait 2 hours for the international A-lister. And like, and it's the exact same thing. And the same way, Trevor Noah is uncomfortable sitting backwards. You know, I don't want to sit backwards. I'm like, people look at my nose. I want to sit like this. Okay. It's like, okay, cool. It's the same way this artist goes, I don't look cute. I want to look cute. So light it differently. So then, and so the problems are the exact same, no matter how, and I'm assuming when I get to Marvel or DC, the problems are going to be the same. It's going to be, you have George Clooney for 2 hours. Like, use it. You know, you have De Niro for 1 hour. He's late already. Okay. So that's the big lesson. And it's that thing of like, as soon as you put the brand on it, it feels bigger. Yeah. Because you watch the rushes and it's like, oh, this is amazing. And then suddenly there's this thing, this product that you've seen your whole life and other things. And it's like, it just gives your frame something. Yeah. You know, and it's like, this is real. And then you fall in love with filmmaking all over again. And you realize sometimes I don't need the big tools. I just need a light and a camera. Okay. And a person. Yeah. And then suddenly you've got magic. So I was about to even say, so what do you say to the filmmaker who's got an iPhone and they're shooting their film and the guy who's got the Ari shooting his film? It's, you know, what's crazy is you can't help but make something good if you love filmmaking. If you really love it. Because the Ari guy will make something okay because they have to. But the iPhone guy with that love can make something way more interesting. I was with Primo yesterday. Yeah. And he showed me a short that he did. He shot it in lockdown on his phone. Okay. It's called Toi. It's on YouTube right now. And he shot that on his phone. It's actually better than some short films that I watched at DIF. Wow. Because it's just about guys trying to get each other with this thing, you know, and then it's like, oh, that's hilarious. And the way it's edited and the intent and like the love you can feel it's so good. I forgot that I sat for 12 minutes and like out of a meetup with a homie, I ended up watching this thing.
Wow.
And so it's not about resources. It's about like the intent of the filmmaker. And we all come from like, I mean, my first music video I shot for 2,500 Rand for an Uber driver I met. He played a song for me. And I love that video to this day. And like, I sometimes wish, like, I wish I could show it on my reel, but it's like, yeah, but like, they want to see your, they want to see your other stuff. True. But it's like, yo, I love this thing so much because it was just me and my friends running around with an A7S, like, you know, Durban in an Uber and like shooting, stealing shots. And that never goes away, that feeling. Yeah. The resources just change and it just costs a bit more money.
I see.
But at the end of the day, that guy shooting the 2,000 Rand music video and me with the $1 million music video doesn't, there's no difference. We still feel the same. We still want the same thing. We still want a good product. We still want to tell a story. In fact, oftentimes I feel like I wish I could go back to the 2,000 Rand music video. I miss that. I miss being able to shoot with no, and oftentimes when I do a music video, I don't get paid.
Okay.
Because all the budget goes into the video. I haven't made money off a music video ever. In my entire career, I've never been paid for a music video.
Are you serious?
Because it always has to go back. It's always a, and it's not that the artists don't offer. It's that if I take this cut, I lose this thing. Same thing like Musa Keys, Kiernan, Ami Faku, even like all that work, we're essentially there for free because my rate is a VT. I need to see, you know, like I need to see what's happening. My rate is the VFX guy to do the cool transition.
Are you serious?
So I often, a lot of that early work and now even music videos, I don't take a rate for. And then usually when I talk to artists about it, it's like, I don't take a rate because realistically speaking, if I got paid the way I'm supposed to, there's no budget. So it's like this 300K music video, you can't give half to one person. You can't give, you know, a third or 50K or 20, you can't give that to a person.
Yeah.
I need to be here because I love your song.
Yeah.
And I need to be here because I care about doing good work and whatever I have, what you had allocated for director, put into gear. Because then that's the difference between a Sony or an Ari or the lenses you want that are 20K. And, you know, some people can make money off music videos.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm one of them.
Yes.
People do make a business of it. I'm just not one of them.
Whoa. Man, so much. Where to from here, bro?
I want to shoot my movie next year in winter.
Okay.
That's my goal.
It has to be winter. It has to be cold.
Winter. Yeah. Black and white texture, you know, all that stuff.
Okay.
Days are shorter, nights are longer. Werewolf night just makes sense. And also in winter, the lunar calendar is a little shorter.
Yeah.
So I can have 3 full moon cycles.
Okay.
So I can have real shots of the full moon that I can do things with. So yeah, I really want to shoot my film, and I want to go to festivals, and I want to see the world on a movie.
Yeah.
I want to travel the world with my movie. I want to keep doing commercials.
Yeah.
But my philosophy with commercials now is hit less frequently but harder. So if that, because it's like, the work, you want to hit harder and less frequently, but also you just want the work to have a like staying power. And I realized if you oversaturate yourself in commercials, you get tired. And I know my time in filmmaking is limited because everything I make takes a little bit from me.
Okay.
So I'm definitely I'm gonna Tarantino. I'm gonna do like 10 films, or maybe less, and I'm going to give myself like a decade or 2 left in commercials to return back. But after that, I'd like to do something else. I don't know what, but I don't think I should do this forever.
Filmmaking. Someone told me, suggested a retired filmmaker, and I said to them, I didn't even know we were retired. Honestly, I feel like this is like a drug game. We do it until they take you out or you're gone.
I just think I don't want people to talk about my work as early era, late era, and then they go, late era wasn't great. I want to consistently give all to everything, but I think at some point I'm going to want to explore something else.
Okay.
I love filmmaking with all my heart. I just know that, and if those 10 films take me to my 80s, that's great.
Awesome. I get you.
So if I do 10, I'm definitely not going to do one every 2 years. But if I do one and I do another one in 3 or 4 years, and and then I take time to live a life and tell you about it. Because in the same way that you're not going to get 10 albums out of Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
You're not going to get 10 albums out of Kendrick.
Yeah.
You're going to get 8 max in their career, judging by how much time they spend between. But it's because you live a life, you learn something, and then you come back and tell us about it.
Whoa.
And I'd like to live like that.
Yeah.
And I think the more you give to things that aren't from your soul, the harder it is to make really impactful work.
Yeah.
Because you haven't given yourself time to learn anything.
Yeah.
And then we're so worried about being busy and stacked that we forget to be artists and be like productive. And I don't want to be busy, I want to be productive. And I just want to make great films. And if that takes 5 years at a time, I'm happy for that. And like money and all that comes, that's fine. But I really only want to limit my output because I think it's special. I think everything we make has to be special.
Man, I had another question, but my director might even kill me. She'll be ready to kill me. IP, bro. Tell me something about it. What's your thoughts on IP?
I think it's so important. I think it's important to own it. I think it's important to have an understanding of why something works. And funny enough, a lot of major studios, a lot of people around the world who give money to make things want an IP. They want it to exist in a universe of some sort, right? And the idea is that you're coming with a fan base, people who love this thing. And I think we've gotten okay with relinquishing it for the sake of making it.
Yeah.
And I feel like IP isn't just saying, I own this idea, I own this thing. IP is saying, this is a universe in itself. And it exists with a fan base, but it also exists like outside of just this movie on Netflix. It's so much more than that. And having these kinds of conversations, a lot of filmmakers are gearing that way. And I was inspired actually to do a prequel of my film as a comic book, for instance.
Okay.
Suddenly, it's not, you do this 80-page graphic novel of the days leading up to the beginning of the movie, as a comic book, And then suddenly, you have a universe.
Yeah.
You have it's everything rhymes, right? And then you own it. It becomes an IP. It becomes something where it's like, it's not just a movie. It's a movie. It's a line of custom, Nike sneakers. It's also a line of comic books. And then suddenly it's a universe that exists. And that's the value of IP. Owning a rom-com is owning a rom-com. But suddenly when that rom-com is a TV show, and that's the value of IP. And that's what pays Robert Downey Jr. to be Iron Man. Marvel, the money that Marvel makes isn't from Disney. It's from the Marvel committee. It's from the committee of people who sell the toys. So the people who, before they make a Marvel film, before they do a slate, they go, what toys are we trying to sell?
Okay.
And they go, well, we would like to sell a Hulkbuster toy. It's like, but that's not in the script for Avengers 2. Well, write it in then. and then now we have a scene with the Hulkbuster. And that's why the films feel the way they do. There's so much cool stuff in it. It's like, oh man, the Black Panther mask, or the Hulkbuster armor, or and all these different things. Thor's hammer, all these things, that's IP. IP isn't just the thing, it's everything around it. And the committee that sells the toys makes the decisions at the end of the day. They're the ones who go, no, Iron Man will do this. He will fight this guy. He will do, and that's beautiful, actually.
Incredible.
So we shouldn't get bogged down with owning the singular idea. We should look at IP as a means to open up the idea to be more than just one thing, a shared universe amongst these characters. And that should force you to make a world that's so interesting, you should do other stuff in it as well.
Man, beautiful way to close it off. Lindo, thank you so much.
Thank you, bro.
I wish you all the best in your career. You are doing amazing things. You're inspiring so many young people, man. Oh, man. And I see you. When I met you, man, yes, you were so fresh, but so humble and so eager, man. You got a beautiful soul, bro.
Thank you, man.
Keep at it. Keep going. God bless all the way, my brother. And thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Easy.
It feels good. Every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda and Zimbabwe. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda and Zimbabwe. Oh, man, it feels good.
For more amazing content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And please follow us on all our social media pages. Love.